All right, so for this next project, also using the WellDressed stamp set, you are going to have a few things in your kit. And I'm going to give you a couple of different ideas or alternate ways that you can do this in case you don't have all of the exact tools. So this is the card that you're going to make. And you can kind of see it's got a little bit of a watercolor effect. I wish I wouldn't have stapled it down because as it dried it bubbled a little bit. So the first thing that you want to do on this card is do the watercolor piece because you need to allow it to dry for the longest period of time. So we are going to do that first. And to do that, I'm using the aqua painter. I'm going to show you an alternate technique using the Wink of Stella. And the other thing that you could do would be to just use a regular paintbrush with water, with a cup of water, are the two easiest. So I'm going to start, I'm going to start with my light ink, and I've already filled the aqua painter, but for those of you who've never seen or used the aqua painter, it's like a fat paint with water paintbrush. It unscrews, you fill this up with tap water, you screw it back on, you get 2 pens in your package. This is the wider one, and I've had this for a long time. In fact, I'm going to clip that little hair off so that it doesn't affect. Okay, so you do have to slightly squeeze on the barrel of the aqua painter in order to get some of that water to come down. You don't necessarily need to squeeze while you're putting ink on your brush tip, but when you get over here, you're going to want to squeeze. Now you're just going to randomly keep putting ink on there and do it lightly. You're just trying to get a little bit of a yellow look, okay? So that's how you would do it with the aqua painter or a paintbrush. For the next color, I did all mine with the aqua painter, but for this next color, I'm going to show you the alternate way to do it because I think most all of you might have a Wink of Stella brush pen as well. The two colors also I'm using are Daffodil Delight and a Granny Apple Green. You don't look at this and see anything that looks Granny Apple Green on there, but it looks great as a watercolor. So any color that you have that is similar to these will work. So, same principle. I'm going to take and run my Wink of Stella. I try to do it just in a corner. If you can get it to squeeze, our new pads are not as easy to do this technique with as our old style pads were, but if you can get it to squeeze into there, that's even better, so that you don't have Wink of Stella. Now you're just going to take that and you're going to go across it. Basically, you're just trying to create a little bit of, looks like brush watercolor look to it, okay? Gives a little bit of bling without being too feminine. I am gonna do the speckle, I guess, whatever you'd call it. I'll pick that back up with my aqua painter. To me, it's easier to do it with the aqua painter, and I'm just flicking it. And sometimes it flicks better if you have something harder. Must not be squeezing quite enough water. There we go. Yeah, just wasn't squeezing quite enough water. Okay. You don't have to add the speckle. If you don't want to deal with it and you just want to do your Wink of Stella brush and keep it clean, by all means do it. Now I'm going to set this aside. I need that to dry just a little bit. If you used your Wink of Stella, it will be easy. You won't have to let it dry. But if you do a water method, you need it to lay over there and dry a little bit. And I'm actually going to pick up my paper and just flip it over. Sorry. Ignore the stamps. I just don't want to have that speckled water coming on. This card is a vertical. So this is where you cut your 8.5 by 11 cardstock vertically instead of the fat way. So elementary school uses hot dog, and then the other method, like for the white card that we just did, is a hamburger style. But you're going to fold this in half. Use your bone folder if you have it. And then you have a piece of paper in your kit. It's either plaid, or it might be this one with the golf balls and tees. It could be the people on the golf course. Whatever your paper is, you have a large sheet of the Designer Series paper cut. You're going to merely use your adhesive and layer that on. I didn't think there was a top or bottom to this golf ball paper, but when I laid it, it kind of felt like all the tees were upside down. All right, so that is the first step. In your kit, oops, I lost mine. You have another little strip of DSP, again, a variety, and that's what you're going to adhere to the left side of your card. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and adhere that down while your paper is drying. And most of those I did leave slightly long just in case the paper is at an inch. So you're going to set that there. The next step is we're going to use the tie or whatever image you want to use. I'm using the tie from the Well Dressed stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it using Blueberry Bushel. Again, not Night of Navy, which is the actual color that is in this grouping. But I want it to kind of stand out and be a little bit more bold. And I'm just going to stamp that right over where I made that watercolor wash. Interesting looking at this to see the difference of the ink where I did the Wink of Stella versus the watercolor. And looking at it on my stamp, what it tells me is that the Wink of Stella kind of creates a little bit of a barrier for the ink, so not as much of the ink goes off onto the paper with the Wink of Stella. Interesting. All right, so again, I'm going to revert back to, here it is, the Sending You Thoughts stamp set, and I'm going to choose one of these sayings. So I did congratulations on that first one. I think I'm going to do happy birthday on this one, just so I can have, you know, a couple different sayings. And you can use whichever ink. I opted to go with the, whoop, I got to put the happy birthday stamps together. He is not together. These are the red foam stamps. So I like them because they have a little bit more oomph behind them when you stamp. So you don't have to press as hard. And you get a clean, usually get a really nice clean image with the red rubber stamps comparatively. Okay, so put that on there. And I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green for the saying. This happy birthday is going to be putting it pretty close. So I think I'm going to do it up top for this one. Plus that way I have green, yellow, green instead of green, green. So I think because of that, because of the way I'm doing that and looking at it, I'm going to trim mine down just a little bit. You do not need to do that. It was not designed that way. It's just that when I put my saying up top, I didn't like it as well. That would be better if I did it with my paper cutter, but Okay, the last thing is we have the daffodil ruched ribbon. And I'm going to fold it in half and make a little loop. And then I'm going to take my stapler. Both pieces of the ribbon, of the ends of the ribbon, are behind the card. And I'm just going to staple it like so. And then this one was done flat on there. I'm going to do this one dimensionalized. I just want you to see the difference. And also, if you found that you used too much water and your paper is a little bubbly or whatever, this is an easy fix for it to not show those bubbles, because it's not going to be adhered down flat. It's going to be, that backing doesn't want to come off. It's going to be raised up, so it's not, that bubbling is not going to show the same way. So I'm just going to center it on. And there is the card. So you can see a couple variations. You can see when I stamped my tie on this one, my paper was still way too wet. And there's that, remember when I said it wasn't completely dry when I adhered it, so it bubbled. So those are some fixes for you if you come across those when you're making this card. Put it on with dimensionals. If you're using that Wink of Stella pen, it's going to be much drier. So hopefully you really like that card.